Day in and day out, TV8 works for you.
Gonna pick it up there, the decision?
No, you're...
Okay, I'm gonna say the whole thing.
The drug is called Dinase, and the one...
Kevin Cooney, Sue Mason.
All right, are we ready?
Stand by in the studio. I'll keep fine young men.
Day in and day out, TV8 is Iowa's news leader. This is TV8, KCCI TV, Des Moines.
Los Angeles is calm as U.S. Marines patrol the streets, and the nation prays for racial understanding. This is the CBS Evening News. Good evening, I'm Connie Chung. Maybe it was because today is Sunday, or maybe the angry had just grown weary. But Los Angeles calmed down today, and for the first time, we heard words from the man who was dragged from his truck and beaten. Bill Lagatuda is with us live with the latest. Bill?
Connie, the death toll here is now up to 49, making these the nation's deadliest riots, worse than Detroit, worse than Watts. But federal troops did go into the streets today, and so confident the peace will hold, the mayor declared the curfew will be over after tonight.
My pack's under yours. Get all that gear, let's go.
U.S. Marines who did battle in places like Kuwait and Iraq secured yet another world trouble spot today, the corner of Florence and Hooper on the outskirts of L.A., California.
I didn't expect to be on U.S. soil doing this job ever, doing any kind of police action in America. It just blows my mind that this is happening.
Yet it was, and it seemed to be working. In one of the many exhausted, roughed-up neighborhoods, the troops were greeted as liberators, and many people sighed, it's almost over now.
And we hold this pain in our hands.
The churches in all of the broken neighborhoods were other places in which people sought hope and wondered about the future.
Go with us, Lord, from mess up to mop up to fix up.
Everywhere on this Sunday, there were signs of a city struggling to its feet. At the supermarkets, there was a run on essentials like milk, and word that some of the big chain stores here were considering not rebuilding.
We never have had anything, but you know, when we finally get something, they tear it down.
Many small businesses won't be able to come back. They were grossly underinsured. Amid all the talk of rising from the ashes, the experts predicted unemployment here will jump to 20%. As the National Guard convoys rolled through the silent streets last night, there was some violence, a few more shootings, but officers were less inclined to arrest people just for violating the curfew. That's because the courts can barely handle all those taken in so far. Today, in an extraordinary Sunday session, the first of more than 1,000 cases were being heard, some of those charged with shooting and pillaging early on. The system is drowning in paperwork, and local jails are full up. There was a minor miracle on this Sunday, and it had to do with the man whose vicious beating has come to symbolize the senselessness of this whole crisis. Motorist Reginald Denny, at one time near death, is better.
It's just unbelievable, unbelievable.
From his hospital bed, he sent out notes, thanking his rescuers, telling the world, I can hear fine, but I can't talk too good. Be careful around here.
We want to replace the vision of Reggie that everybody is holding in their minds at this point. So we've released something that really shows the person. We want everyone to know who Reggie is.
That's him and his daughter, Ashley, who is like most of us.
She is having a hard time understanding, as everybody is, why her daddy. Daddy didn't do anything to anybody. Why did they pick him?
Replacing one image with another. Tomorrow, a weary Los Angeles goes back to work. Many city buses will be running, and schools which have been closed will be reopened. Connie?
Thank you, Bill Lagatuda. The personal stories of those who lost their lives in last week's violence are emerging now. Not only their stories, but the stories of those who love them. Bob Fall reports.
The riots devastated not only neighborhoods and people in its wake, the riots also devastated people who were not involved. Shelley Wilkins, mother of two, is now a widow. Wednesday night, her husband, Elbert, was shot on a Los Angeles street by a passing motorist as Elbert stood sipping a soda.
He was a good guy. Everybody loved him. He was a real good guy.
He was in the wrong place.
Just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Telephone operator Jackie Mallory was in Detroit when word came that her only son, Darnell, 18 years old, had been killed.
It's a movie. This is not real. This is, you know, this is a movie program they got on one of those dramas or something. This is not, and it's going to be over tomorrow. Not even in my wildest thoughts that I think something like that it would be like this.
Police say that Darnell and 2 others died here when their car slammed into a wall after police chased them from a burglary site in Beverly Hills.
They hit this thing at probably 100 plus.
Darnell, called P by his family, will always be the baby to his mother. To her, whatever a son was doing before his death is not very important.
Whatever I find out, it won't make me love him any less. He was my baby. And that's all there is.
Chalet Wilkins grieves not just because the shooting of her husband was senseless, but because he died unnecessarily. The car taking him to the hospital was in an accident and was detained by police for 30 minutes. Without the delay, he probably would have lived.
I asked why me, I asked why, I asked why. But there are no answers. There are no answers.
Survivors of the dead share the belief that if the riots had not happened, their loved ones would still be alive. What they also share is the pain of a tragedy which has reached far beyond the neighborhoods that burned. Bob Fall, CBS News, Los Angeles.
South Korea's government announced today it is sending a delegation to Los Angeles to ask for money for Korean immigrants to rebuild what they lost in the riots. But as John Blackstone tells us, there may not be much sympathy for the Korean community in a city overladen with wants and needs.
Richard Park returned to the scene of the battle today. With guns drawn, he and an employee had tried to hold off perhaps 300 looters.
You shot in the air?
Yeah, I shot in the air. And
the looters fired back. Park's sister and sister-in-law were both wounded.
Were you afraid for your life?
Yeah, first time I afraid of my life, first time.
You were shooting back?
Yeah, I heard that this bullet is through this my ear. And my brother, sister-in-law, shot. He fall down. After that, I don't know. I lose my mind.
After the family fled, the store was stripped and wrecked.
They try to kill me. Why they want to kill me? I don't do anything bad to them.
It's a story repeated over and over by Korean business people in Los Angeles.
Human dignity. Where's your human dignity?
Estimates range from 600 to 1,000 Korean stores attacked and looted or burned. Koreans say they were the targets of much of the black anger.
Go down to South Central and look at the stores that are open today. It's black-owned stores. All the rest that got it down are Korean-owned stores.
Relations between blacks and Koreans in Los Angeles were already simmering even before the Rodney King verdict, largely because of another videotape and another verdict. This security camera tape from last year shows a Korean store owner arguing with a girl she suspects of shoplifting. The store owner grabs a gun, it goes off, instantly killing the girl, 15-year-old Latasha Harlins. The Korean woman was found guilty of manslaughter, but the judge let her go free, serving no time in prison. Since that decision last November, the two communities have been on a knife edge.
The Koreans actually, they don't give us black people any respect. We patronize them, we come in their stores, we purchase their items, but yet still they still want to talk to us and treat us like dogs.
Korean immigrants own many of the stores in South Central Los Angeles. Resentment has built as these newcomers come in and do well. Some black leaders say the Koreans only take, they don't give back.
There were no blacks hired in the Korean businesses. There were blacks treated very unfairly. What you want? You, what you want? That kind of thing. And so there was a method to the madness that was out here. I'm not saying I condone it, but I understand it. And I understand the outrage of the people.
We will fight you and rise like a phoenix from these very ashes created by you devils.
The Koreans of Los Angeles showed their outrage and pain this weekend, too, in a massive rally. The events these past few days have revealed a city that is perhaps not so much a melting pot as a mosaic, where communities are too often divided by bitterness and suspicion.
I, too, as a Korean American, have a dream!
In Richard Park's ransacked office, all that's left untouched are the pictures and mementos of his 24 years in America. his 5 years on the city's Human Relations Commission, promoting understanding between races. In the clutter today, Hartz found the only thing the looters missed and wondered if time can heal these wounds. John Blackstone, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Still ahead on the CBS Evening News, President Bush, Bill Clinton, and Ross Perot all speak out on the Los Angeles riots. And black students from Brooklyn on a mission of racial understanding at a white suburban high school.
Drench yourself in a wave of refreshment. Crystal Light, refreshment for body and soul.
Here's a great big idea.
Saladshooter!
From Presto, professional salad shooter slicer shredder. Big capacity and power. Special blades to point and slice thick, slice thin, shred, even ripple cut. Right where you want.
Saladshooter!
From Presto.
How could this happen? They've taken the secret.
Europeans are upset. The Kellogg's Mueslix cereal uses their secret recipe.
This we kept in the family.
After all, they've been guarding this delicious secret forever. Ah, but this luscious blend of sweet fruit, crunchy nuts, and crisp whole grains was destined to become Kellogg's Mueslix.
Angelina, you told?
It wasn't me. I swear.
Kellogg's Mueslix, the European secret for great taste.
Reintroducing a glorious name for a glorious new automobile. The 1992 Buick Roadmaster. With its powerful V8 performance and the security of its driver's airbag, anti-lock brakes, and full perimeter frame, Roadmaster is perhaps the best value in an American luxury sedan. Roadmaster also delivers something only a Buick can deliver. Buick quality.
Bill Clinton arrives in Los Angeles this evening, and President Bush will travel there later this week to get first-hand looks at the devastation caused by 3 days of rioting. Today, President Bush called on Americans to pray for healing. Randall Pinkston has our report.
This afternoon, President Bush returned to the White House from Camp David, where he received periodic telephone status reports on the situation in Los Angeles. The president, who had ordered federal troops into the area on Friday, was obviously relieved that the crisis appeared to be easing.
I'm very pleased that things have calmed way down, and I think our action helped.
Tomorrow morning, Mr. Bush holds a meeting with key cabinet members to discuss a long-term response to the Los Angeles riot. Meanwhile, administration officials spent much of the weekend defending Mr. Bush from charges that he had focused too much attention on restoring law and order and not enough on the root causes of the violent outburst.
I think it's fair to say that he is fully engaged and fully committed to addressing not only the immediate problems of law and order, but also the other problems in our cities.
President Bush confirmed he will stick with a long-planned visit to Los Angeles on Thursday, but instead of talking only with business leaders, the riot has now forced White House planners to schedule meetings with local officials and community leaders. Mr. Bush will get a close-up look at the devastation as he struggles to define just what the role is of the federal government in confronting the crisis facing America's cities. Connie?
Thank you, Randall Pinkston. The Los Angeles riots have added a new and unpredictable element to the campaign in '92. As Richard Threlkeld reports, race relations are suddenly a very important issue to the presidential candidates.
Clinton spent this Sunday among black congregations in Washington, offering advice on how to heal the divisions that prompted the violence in Los Angeles this past week, but avoiding harsh criticism of the White House.
We're going to have to solve a lot of this one-on-one, person by person, community by community, neighborhood by neighborhood.
He picked up the endorsement of the mayor of Washington, Sharon Pratt Kelly, who called Clinton a survivor.
Anytime anybody talks about the needs of America and the need of our cities and the needs of those of us who have traditionally been disrespected, they always come after him. But he doesn't roll over and die. He gets up and fights and tries to take on another day.
And Ross Perot, who may challenge Clinton and George Bush for the White House this fall, was also in Washington with some thoughts on what he'd do about Los Angeles if he were president.
If I were here and something like that happened, first thing I'd do is head for the airport, and on the way I'd call the Attorney General, tell him to file a federal lawsuit. Then I would be there. I have to see it, feel it, and taste it. I can't get it remote.
Clinton's trip to Los Angeles tonight seems to be for much the same reasons, to talk and to listen.
What I'm going to be talking to them about is what we can take out of this crisis to really make some clear difference, not only for the people in their community, but for the people of the United States.
Clinton is planning to spend less than 24 hours in Los Angeles, trying to draw attention to the causes of the violence without appearing to play politics with it. He'll have to tread carefully. Richard Threlkeld, CBS News, Washington.
Some comments today from abroad on the Los Angeles riots. Egypt's leading newspaper asked how, in light of the King verdict, the U.S. can guarantee a fair trial for 2 Libyans accused in the Lockerbie bombing. And Israel's largest paper compared the riots to the Palestinian uprising. It says both involve people in despair who feel they have nothing to lose.
The accident took my arm, and I thought my job. I just couldn't do what I used to. So Liberty Mutual gave me a Boston elbow. Its power and flexibility gave me back the ability to do my job, which gives me back the ability to pick up a paycheck.
Mannington has invented a floor that breaks the shine barrier. Through all kinds of torture, Mannington Gold shines brighter and longer than even Armstrong's best floors. Mannington Gold, a shining example of what a floor should be.
Your dentist told you about plaque, but you didn't listen. You need the new Braun Oral-B Plaque Remover. It removes plaque just like your dentist wants you to.
That shelf should hold now, Doc.
The Braun Oral-B Plaque Remover.
Knock out the flea and tick problem for good. Hit him with the old 1-2 combination punch from Hartz. Get rid of them with the Hartz 2-in-1 Rid Flea Shampoo. Those tough bubbles knock out fleas and ticks while leaving Rocky looking and smelling like a champ. Follow through with the Hartz 2-in-1 Collar. It stops fleas and ticks dead for up to 5 months, even if it gets wet. Hartz 2-in-1 Rid Flea Shampoo and a Hartz 2-in-1 Collar. That's the Hartz 1-2 punch. It's murder on fleas and ticks. Hartz, everything good for your pet.
You didn't know you owned an airline, did you? You not only own the planes, you pay for the gas every time some bureaucrat wants to go somewhere. 60 Minutes, tonight.
For several years now, groups of high school students in New York City have been taking part in a program aimed at bridging the wide gulf between black and white America. This week, they got a hard look at the work still ahead of them. Racism, that's our Sunday cover as a new generation struggles with an old problem. Although the embers may be cooling, the emotions are still simmering in Los Angeles and in much of the rest of the country. As far away as New York, young people are grappling with the racism they see all around them.
People could get hurt and killed, and it's wrong.
On a whole, we are pretty racist because we don't have any of the other cultures in our school to learn from them.
Friday, the mostly white students of Shoreham-Wading River High on Long Island got a chance to learn when 11 minority students came out from Brooklyn to share their lives and cultural differences. They're part of a group called the Council for Unity, a school-based organization that tries to teach students how to respect each other.
With everything going on now, the thing in California, the things here, the most important thing for me is that the people over here get to know what life is like outside of Shoreham, outside of Long Island. And
we're just getting along so well, and this is the way it should be. It shows a lot for who we are.
It's not only, you know, the color of the person, because I try my best to see everybody as gray, but it doesn't work too well.
The lives of these Brooklyn and Long Island students are as different as the streets they live on.
This is false surroundings. This is not life, man. It's not what life is really about.
These students learned they have something major in common, a strong desire to stop racism from keeping them apart.
My kids found out that suburban youngsters have the same needs that they do, have the same aspirations, the same fears, and a great connection took place.
Educators say one of the keys to success is getting parents to face up to the racial realities.
I guess maybe we need to tell them the truth that there really isn't racial harmony, that maybe at this point in time we want to see racial harmony occur, but we're going to have to work a whole lot harder at it.
People who talk about harmony are going to have to back up their words with real action that says that we care and we're taking action to change the quality of your life as a poor person in American society.
Thank you so much.
For now, in just one trip, these students have shared what many never learn in a lifetime.
The children came together with some preconceived notions, and they walked away a little wiser, maybe, about what humanity is all about.
School administrators around the country have been so impressed with the program that it's now spread well beyond New York.
Her name is Sarah, and she's lucky, because today she'll encounter egrets doing dances and alligators in the wild. She'll see how other moms take care of their kids, and she'll be doing this, recycling, through a program of the National Park Service and its recycling partner, Dachau.
We can make a difference in what tomorrow brings.
Together with the National Park Service and folks like Sarah.
Dachau lets you do great things.
Red Lobster may have gone too far this time. A full pound of tempting shrimp overflowing your plate. Red Lobster's never offered you, whoops, so much on one plate. 10 grilled shrimp, 15 butterfly, 11 scampi. A full pound of our biggest and best shrimp for a limited time. So much shrimp with all the extras, including a doggy bag.
Red Lobster for the seafood lover in you.
When you go out for groceries only twice a year, you think harder about what you buy. You check the facts. And only one leading cereal, Cheerios, is low in sugar and a good source of fiber and made from whole grain oats. So choose smart. Choose Cheerios.
I'd like to talk to you about an invisible problem. The invisible bacteria that cause denture odor. Fortunately, antibacterial Efferdent kills those odor-causing bacteria for clean, fresh dentures.
Antibacterial Efferdent. Efferdent.
The European community today gave up attempts to monitor a ceasefire in the breakaway Yugoslav Republic of Bosnia. In Sarajevo, Bosnian forces ambushed a convoy of the Serb-led Yugoslav army. The convoy had been given safe conduct in return for the release of Bosnia's president by army troops, who detained him for 24 hours. Strikes by public service workers in Germany are spreading. Union officials are threatening to black out national television and shut down most major airports tomorrow. Frankfurt, the busiest airport, would be struck Tuesday. It's been 47 years since U.S. soldiers reached one of Nazi Germany's most notorious concentration camps. Some of the American liberators went to Israel to mark the anniversary. Bob Simon tells us it turns out that they were no strangers to bigotry themselves.
Yad Vashem is Jerusalem's Museum of the Holocaust, a solemn stop on just about everyone's organized tour of Israel. A group of Japanese-American tourists stopped by today. For them, it was a visit to a distant and silent but indelible moment of their past. They are veterans of the 442nd Regimental Combat Team of the U.S. Army, recruited from American detention camps where they and their families were imprisoned during the Second World War. They saw action in Anzio, the Battle of the Bulge, and Germany. 47 years ago this week, they liberated a Nazi concentration camp in a village called Dachau.
They were so skinny, so you could not tell the difference between a male and a female.
When they opened the gates of Dachau, they were confronted not only with horror, but with one of the greater ironies of our time. At that very moment, their wives and children were behind barbed wire in the United States.
And I'm saying, what the heck am I doing here anyway? My folks are still in camp. I'm not trusted in my own country. And here I am trying to rescue these people, trying to feed them.
The 442nd was the most decorated U.S. regiment in the European theater. It suffered the highest casualties. But the men were ordered by their Caucasian officers to remain silent about what they saw at Dachau. That silence was finally broken this week, not so much by their voices as by the voices of those they saved.
They didn't look like what I thought the Americans would look like in the movies that I saw in Lithuania.
Finally, he went down on his knees with a gesture like this and said something about, through my God, I'm telling you, I am an American soldier and you are free.
But never free of the memory. The final irony in this incredible little tale is that the 442nd finally received the homage which was its due, not from the country it served, but from a nation which wasn't even born that chill April morning 47 years ago. Bob Simon, CBS News, Jerusalem.
We Americans have some very particular ideas of what we want in our cars and trucks.
I feel like the car's like wrapped around.
One company gets input from customers at every stage of new product development to find out exactly what they're looking for. That may be why 5 of the top 10 selling vehicles in America are built by the same company, Ford Motor Company.
With your help, our quality gets better all the time.
Ford Motor Company. Quality is job one.
It's working.
It's working.
If I started serving these, my guys would just find another truck stop. Now, can't you put in some raisins or pecans or blueberries? These flakes need help. These aren't bad at all. They're simple, but the bottom line taste is pretty good. Scratch out what I said before. These are good.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes? I knew it. I really had to go in there, didn't I?
Taste them again for the first time.
Why cook in oil, margarine, or butter? All-natural Pam adds only 1/10 the fat and calories and keeps food light and delicious. Pam Cooking Spray, because how you cook is as important as what you cook.
The Maytag refrigerator. It's not only durable, it's adjustable, so that whatever the future holds, your Maytag will too. Buy one now and get the best warranty in the business.
Here goes my future.
After 3 days of anguish, frustration, and fear, many people in Los Angeles and across the nation found refuge today in prayer. David Culhane has more on how churches are helping with the healing.
Today it was the time for prayer. All around the nation, people tried to find spiritual foundations for hope and rebuilding. All over America, they remembered the dead and the injured.
Lord, we want to remember those who were the victims of hate and frustration.
In Boston, at the Union United Methodist Church, they passed out black ribbons to remember the victims of the violence. In many places, like the Riverside Church in New York, they named each person who died.
Robert McPrince, Carol Travis Polly, Zenobia Gray.
In Washington, the call was for understanding about some of the sources for this death and destruction.
Rage has deep generational roots and are anchored in experiences of hopelessness and despair too numerous to count.
People seem to understand the need for change.
Change will only come when the people, black and white, decide that enough is enough. And I think we're beginning to see that now. However, it's a long way from happening.
Peace and love. In the name of God we pray. Amen.
All across the nation, people prayed today, prayed that America would be given the leadership to find the ways to peace and justice.
We can do anything but take care of the domestic agenda here in America. We can't clean up our own backyard, and it's not because we don't have the resources. We don't have the will.
David Culhane, CBS News, New York.
And that's our news. Dan Rather will be here tomorrow night, and Giselle Fernandez will be sitting in for Bill Plant on the CBS Sunday Night News. I'm Connie Chung in New York. I'll see you again next Sunday. Thank you for joining us, and for all of us at CBS News, good night.
Eye on your health.
On your money.
Eye on your children.
On the environment.
Eye on crime.
Eye on America.
Only on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
This is CBS.
Why do you get a great cut at Great Clips? Ask our stylist.
It's my reputation on the line.
You're going to get the best haircut possible.
You want people to feel good about themselves. Do you want it curly? Do you want it straight? We care that they're happy.
At Great Clips, you get salon quality style without the salon price. Our specially trained stylists make the difference.
Our stylists, your stylist.
We guarantee it.
Graduate student Gong Lu fires shots and lives are changed forever. 6 are dead and 1 survives. This is her story.
I can't really give up, so you can look toward the future.
For the first time since the shooting, Mia Seelson talks to TV8's Jill Lingwall about that tragic day and what the future holds. Don't miss this very special series, Sole Survivor, the Mia Seelson story. Tonight on the TV8 News, live at 10.
This is TV8, KCCI TV, Des Moines.